Hey everyone, so this is going to be the video for part 1 of assignment 2. We're going to be going over a few things today. So the first thing I kind of want to go over is changing point groups and manipulating how they look, which can be really helpful when you're looking at a drawing and you need to differentiate point groups from each other. So what we want to do is actually upload those points from the previous assignment. So from part 1 of assignment 1, we're just going to open those points up again, and that's what I'm doing here. You can use the same drawing file that you did before for this assignment and just reuse that. Here I'm just re-uploading it. So I have all of my points from before. So in order to do what I want you guys to do for this assignment, you need to have your tool space available over here. And sometimes it's not there because of just settings that you have in Civil 3D. So if you don't see it, that's most likely because the tool space icon over here is unselected. So you want to have that selected, and this is how you can view your tool space. And if you look next to it, there's a whole bunch of different types of tool settings, essentially. So you have all of these different options, and when I unselect them, you can see they disappear from your tool space, and each one that I add from this group adds a separate tab. So you have your toolbox, survey tab, settings, prospector tab. So what I need you guys to view is actually this prospector tab over here, and we want to look at this point group. So go into the prospector tab and look for point groups over here. And you want to open that up, and you'll see all points. And when you select that, what you actually see down here are all the points that you have before. So you have your easting, northing, elevation, and your point numbers. So now we can start actually manipulating this and maybe get some information on these points that we didn't have before. So the first thing that I want you guys to do is just right click on all points and go to the properties for all of your points. So here is where we can start editing around and changing how these points look to represent different things in your drawing. So where I want you to go first is to the point style down here, and go right over here so you can start editing the points essentially. So first, go to the marker tab over here, and I want to show you guys that you can change the way your marker looks. So here's a little preview. So you can have a little plus sign, or like a little like quotation mark kind of thing, or just a dot. You can also choose to have nothing at all. There are a few options over here that allow you to layer on some different point styles. So right now, let's change it to something that kind of looks like a little crosshair. So I'm going to hit apply and OK. And our points haven't changed yet because we haven't hit OK over here. So now we have that changed. So I'm going to reopen this and go to display. So you can see down here there are two different components to these points down here. There's the marker and there's the label. So we're going to go to marker, which is the marker that you see here, and we're going to change its color. So you can just click right on its color over here, and it's showing that it's red right now. So let's do something, let's do it like an orange. You can change the color to whatever you want. So I'll stick with orange and probably go with UVA colors at the end when I start adding in some labels. So I hit apply and OK. So the next thing I need you guys to do is just hit apply and OK again. And as you can see, all of our points have now changed into that little crosshair that I had done before, and they're all orange. You can see that. So I want you to go back to all points and properties, and now we need to add some labels. So now we can actually understand what these points even mean a little bit more. So as you can see, all of your points over here, you have all of these different data types. You have your point number, your easting, northing, and your point elevation, so your Z direction. And maybe we want to show what some of those values are. So let's go to elevation only. Alright, and I'm going to hit apply over here. And now you can see already all of our elevations are now shown. So I'm going to edit those just like we did before, but it looks a little bit different here. So you want to go to the Layout tab, and for the text, you can see there's a whole bunch of different types over here, and you can change a few of these kind of components. But what we want to do here is we want to go to the text and we want to change the color of these labels. So let's hit that. And let's go, well, I said I was going to do UVA colors before, so let's go with the blue. Hit OK. Hit apply and OK. Apply again and OK. And you can see that it changed. Now, this does not look good at all because of the colors I selected, and that's something you want to be conscious of. When you select certain colors and you're trying to differentiate certain things, like in this space, it's hard to read, so you want to consider that when you're dealing with drawings. I'm just trying to make it a little bit more fun. But yeah, this is what I want you to kind of start off with over here. Alright, so now that we have all of our points kind of edited a little bit, what we want to do is create a surface out of these points. Right now, the points give us information, elevation information, but it's kind of hard to interpret that data just as all these points around here without having to look at each individual one. So we can use surfaces to visualize the information contained here in a much faster and easier way. So what we want to do is we want to create a new surface. So we want to go to the Prospector tab and go to Surfaces over here. Right click that and select Create Surface. And for the surface type, we're going to stick with the tin surface. And I want you to rename this surface, select everything here, Ground Surface. And hit Enter and OK. Alright, so now we created ground surface, but nothing is showing up. And that's fine because we only created the surface. We haven't done anything with it yet to actually include it in the drawing. So you can see under Surfaces in the Prospector tab that ground surface has shown up. So you want to open up this tab and go down to Definition and open that up as well. Now remember, all of these points come from a point group. So we want to go down to Point Groups over here and add this point group surface. And we're going to select all points and hit OK. So great, now we actually have a contour map, essentially, that we're kind of looking at here. And one thing I want to show you again, if we're going to go back to all these points over here, there are a few things that we can actually do to manipulate what this kind of looks like when we upload it. So we're gonna go through that right now. So what I want to first point out is that there's a couple of locations here that obviously look pretty off. And when you zoom in, you can tell that they're actually contour lines, and it appears that the contour lines are changing pretty fast. And why that is because well, when you zoom in around the contours, we have a couple of points here. We got like 400. 492, 495, but all of them seem to be dropping down to a point that's actually at 0. So that must not be right, especially considering that all the points surrounding it are around 400. That's a very, very steep grade. If we look over here as well, the same thing's kind of happening, and it's going down to a point in here that is also 0. If we look at this location up here that's kind of doing the same thing, there is also a point in here that is 0 as well. If I can get it to highlight, it doesn't like to behave with the contour lines. There we go, 0, you can tell. So, one thing that I want to point out before we start handling those errors is that you can actually select this whole group by double-clicking on it, this whole surface, and we can kind of change the style of our contour over here. So when you double-click on it, this little pop-up comes up, and you can go through and select different types of surface layouts. So as you see, when I change some of these things around, it changes what type of contour lines you see, what your major and minor lines are. So we're going to go with, let's go with 2 and 10. We'll get rid of that pop-up and unselect. Alright, so after this, what we want to do to change or to fix these errors with 0 elevation, we want to essentially just exclude all elevations that are at 0 elevation. So what I need you to do is go to the Settings tab over here, and you want to go to Surface and Commands. Alright, and there's a whole bunch of different options here. We're going to go down to Create Surface. And now we're opening up the options for creating a surface. This is going to change how we create new surfaces. And we want to go to Build Options. And now we're going to set up a filter. So these are just the default values. And we want to go to elevation less than. So when I select this field, you can tell that it says do not add points with elevations less than this value. Well, what we want to do is we don't want to add those 0 elevation points. So we can actually set this value equal to 1. That way, all of the other points in this file, which all appear to be right around 400 to 600 essentially, will show up, except for the 3 that are at zeros that are making this not look so good. So I'm going to hit Enter, and I'm going to hit OK, and nothing happens. And that is because that's going to change the way we create these surfaces. So we want to go back to Prospector, and what we're going to do is we're just going to delete this surface, and we're going to rebuild it. So we're going to create a new surface. Let's just name it the same exact thing that we did before. So ground surface. Enter. OK. We're going to go to Point Groups, Add, All Points, and OK. And as you can see now, we've gotten rid of all the points that were at 0, so we have a much better looking map than we did before.